Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Pisces, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for Capricorn season, which runs from late December through to late January. I hope you are well. This is the new pattern that we are following. No longer will we be reading for the months, but we're going to be reading for the seasons. Anyhow, I'm using the Time Tarot for you today. I have to say, I've really fallen in love with this deck. It is absolutely extraordinary. So, yeah, been using it for all of the readings so far. What do I have to tell you? If the reading resonates and you'd like to go a little bit deeper, there will be an extended that you can access at the end via links in the description box below. The first one will take you to Selfie. The second will take you to Circle. If you are interested in having access to all of the extended content that I produce, which isn't just, you know, extendeds for every sign, there's also weekly energy readings and all sorts of other things that I put up all the time there actually. Then Circle's probably your bag. We also teach classes over there. There is a repository of past classes if you wanted to bone up on all things esoteric and occult. So, yeah, let's get on with this. I will shut the window so Morrigan, my wolf dog, does not deafen you all. And let's have a look at what's going on for you. This past position, as I've been doing it for each of the signs, has actually turned out to be a bit more of a kind of what was the point of 2025 sort of area. So to that end, let's pull some cards and see what's going on. So we have the Seven of Swords. A card, interestingly, that I also have fallen deeply in love with this year in a way that I didn't before. The High Priestess, that's Pisces energy right there. And the Six of Pentacles in reverse. Very interesting. What about current energy for Pisces, please? What's going on right now? We have the Page of Cups. We have the Knight of Wands. Let's have a look. And we have the Ace of Pentacles. Got a lot of heat coming through here, Pisces. And what's coming towards Pisces for Capricorn season, please? We have Death. We have the Page of Swords in reverse. And one more, please, for Pisces. We have the Chariot. This is really interesting. We've got the King of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. Now, that's Taurus energy right there. And there is a sense that whatever begins now, it's part of a longer story. Now, to some extent, that would be kind of obvious, right? Because we've been in a universal year 9 this year in 2025. And as we move from December to January 2026, we're clicking over into that universal year 1, which is going to be full of themes like innovation and original thinking and leadership. That's a big one. Assertiveness, all these sorts of things. But regardless of whether the universal year 1 would lead to, you know, the initiation of a new cycle or not, like, obviously it's going to do that. But there's a path that you're treading here now. And I wonder if it is starting to become a little bit more obvious to you, Pisces, that is seeing everything change really quite quickly for you in a way that feels anticipated. There's a strong sense of that because we've got that Ace of Pentacles there and we've got the King of Pentacles down here. It's like you saw where this was going and now it's here. But this really, this is setting the scene for what comes in with some rapidity, I would think, in January, right? So definitely covering the period that we're talking about. Anywho, before we get to that, let's start over here because I don't want to describe it as a post-mortem of 2025 because I think we've probably all experienced this year a bit more than any of us really wanted to be perfectly honest. But I think it's quite useful to do perhaps a little bit of reflection about what the nature of this year was all about, really. I love the Seven of Swords. I have fallen deeply in love with it in just the last few months, which is something that is quite confusing for people, and that's fine. I don't mind standing apart on that one. But there's quite a lot of the Suit of Swords that have to my mind at least, played a really important role this year, not just because people's minds are changing about things, but when it comes to a shift in consciousness, the way that that is felt, understood, processed, and what generates therefrom is all happening. I think it's not all happening, but a huge part of it is happening in the mind. And so if we understand the Seven of Swords, like all, cards that are considered to be negative, to be actually a depiction of a polarity in action within the card itself, which I believe is the case, then you will see why there is no card in the tarot that is all good or all bad. Now, 7 is the number of somebody who is seeking truth. Right, and this is what we say in numerology, and swords is all about the workings of the mind. It's about communication and all this kind of thing, and this together leads to a willingness to put yourself outside of your comfort zone. Now, we have other cards that are speaking to that. I'm thinking about the Six of Pentacles in reverse here. But look at this card. I mean, from this snapshot in time, we have absolutely no idea what is going on here, right? We can't see what led up to this. We can't see what comes after it. And so if we look at the imagery as it is, what we have is somebody who is getting ready. And I think you have been getting ready. Has that involved you getting out of your comfort zone? Almost certainly, I would think. But there's something that has remained while everything else has been unstable. And that which has remained is you, Pisces. That High Priestess has maintained a steady course. So even while you have been putting yourself out of your comfort zone, even though you have been pushing yourself to do things, to feel things, to interpret things, I feel like that's a strong message for Pisces. Harder and stronger than you ever have before, against a backdrop of a certain amount of instability, emotional instability, certainly with people around you, which, yeah, I have to go with these ones. It's like, do you know what it is? I think I've nailed what it is. It's almost like you are becoming, did I not say this last month? You are becoming denser. It's almost like there's an acceptance of the need for you to become denser so that everything that you represent can be perceived by people in a way that they could not see it before. I'm either having massive deja vu or that is what I said last month. I can't remember. Anyhow, because as people's consciousness is shifting, they're starting to see that what they thought was solid and dependable and reliable and all those kinds of things is actually anything but. You know, people often think about the material realm as being the most real realm that there is, right? Because they're of the dominance of the five senses, right? So can I touch it? Can I smell it? Can I taste it? Can I see it? These are the indicators as to a certain level of reality to things. But this shift in consciousness that happened, and it really, really picked up over the summer, is seeing people lean towards the idea that actually a lot of what has seemed real is actually incredibly flimsy, and what was not truly understood before is now becoming real on a level that could not have been foreseen by these people, right? So let me just shuffle this deck here. Let's give it a big shuffle. And so I wouldn't say that it's something that's taken no effort from you, Pisces, because I think the acceptance of the mission as you have understood it has been a big thing for you. It certainly has pushed you out of your comfort zone. But at the same time, you just being you and you showing up the way that you have shown up this year has actually been the thing. It's not you that's changed. It's everything around you. That's what I'm trying to say. It's people's perception of you and what you represent, other people's perceptions of you, yeah, that is leading to this sense of reality. it's not a case of you willing yourself to be more real. But at the same time, with that Chariot card there, and that's not the first time that Chariot card shows up because it's over here too, this willingness for you to become denser, the acceptance of the mission to become denser. Recognizing that you are a spirit, yes, but you are living a human existence, right? And that somehow with you the compromise is that you have to allow yourself to be a bit more material. It's been a huge part of this year. Now, I've been banging on about teacher leader guide, and I'm sure you're all sick to fucking death of hearing me talk about it, right? But with every single sign, you know, we've moved through stages. From the first point that I brought this up, there's been resistance, there's been denial, there's been all sorts of things, right? And then slowly over time, there's this adjustment phase that everybody has gone through. And now it's almost like it's glaringly fucking obvious that this was the job. This was the task in hand. This is where all of this goes. And from what I'm seeing here, despite that initial resistance that you may have felt to the idea of being some sort of guide through, you know, this quite frankly sacred period of change, that I think that we're, you know, right on the, well, we're balls deep in it now, actually, to be honest. But the point at which it becomes very, very visible, to quote Austin Coppock, right, when the future is evenly distributed. We're right on the doorstep of that. In times of instability, in times of chaos, in times of conflict, people recognize the material world for that flimsy bit of origami that it is, right? And they start turning towards those things that are unknown, unseen, but that can provide answers where the material world cannot. I love the fact that the horse in this Chariot card here has the moon on its forehead. You know, for me, the Chariot card is often a card of shadow work. It's a card of integration. And I think whilst the shadow aspect of it may not be relevant here, I think the idea of integration really is. Because where the Chariot usually depicts a charioteer and a couple of animals, whether they're horses or sphinxes, I've seen cats where he's depicting Freya and her chariot before. Where we've got the human mind that is in control, and then the balancing of these polarized forces, you know, the trifecta of which is kind of pulling it all together. I love the fact that the horse is the charioteer and the method of movement all in one. It's kind of like you've pulled everything together. And that's happened slowly over the course of this year. I think, to all intents and purposes, it is entirely likely that what has started for you this year simply moves from strength to strength. You know, because the Chariot card is a card of success. It's a card of victory. But principally because one understands that we pick a direction and then we move in it, right? And we have to be balanced and aligned in order for that to happen. You know, like this Chariot card, please. 3 cards here. So, as we approach the period where the world will lose its collective minds, it falls to those who are qualified, and that would be you, Pisces, to spread the word that everything is okay, right? We are simply being shifted out of our collective comfort zones. And, you know, I was talking at the beginning of the year about this. I think I put it in the title of each of the videos around about January, right? This sense that entropy was increasing. within a closed system, it takes more and more energy to maintain the status quo, right? And eventually entropy takes over, and we've got an almost predictable decline into a chaotic state from which a new order will emerge. It is the natural order of things. What's interesting about the upcoming chaos is that it's not quite as chaotic as it first appears. When we understand what is happening, and we understand why it is happening, which is to say, it's time for a consciousness shift for humanity, and we've got to break some eggs to make an omelette. But we have people who can see us through the transition. And that's you. Provided you're willing to show up, speak, spread the word, and all that kind of thing. It's actually not nearly as terrifying as it could be. Now, I haven't lived through other periods of history, so I cannot speak to whether at points in the past there were people such as yourselves who were picking up the baton and helping this transition. I just don't know. I suspect that there have been. But I wonder if they've reached the kind of critical mass that we find ourselves within now. Right? I like to think we're kind of hitting that critical mass. So that the prevailing energy is not fear. Particularly not coming from people like you, right, Pisces, right? It's not fear, but it's like, okay, some things are burning down because they actually need to be burned down. Sometimes things have to be pushed to such a level that people kick back in order to wake people up from these apathetic states that they've been in. You know, when they have misunderstood what is real. A little reality check coming in and going, you know, this comfortable existence that you thought you were living. Well, has anybody really lived a comfortable existence in 2025? I don't think so. It's all fake. It's all an illusion. Like, you understand that, Pisces. You are so in tune with the rhythms of the universe. You govern the transition, actually, from one cycle into another. And there are many other signs who help with this. It's a mutable sign thing, a double-bodied sign thing to transition, between light and dark. I heard somebody say the other day that the study of astrology is simply a study of where the light is. And I thought that was rather beautiful. And correspondingly where the light is not, right? Right across the board, I am seeing people who have done an astonishing amount of work on themselves, ready to turn around and orient themselves towards service to help everybody do the same. Does it mean that there's turbulence ahead? For sure. Is this something that Pisces is afraid of? No. Because, you are not just the water in an abstract sense. I mean, you're the whole fucking ocean. These kind of tides of movement, mass movements of consciousness, well within your wheelhouse, Pisces. And where you've struggled to make sense of a lot of things over the course of your life, it seems like it's all led inexorably to this point here where now you really come into your own. I was, who did I do before you? Aries. Can't even remember what I was going to tell you about that. No, it's gone. Probably wasn't important. It's like we've all been through a bit of a training academy, and now the shift is happening. The shift is here. It's about to increase, explode, if you will, over 2026, and you're here to help. You're here to do your thing. There's a very purposeful energy about all of this, and it doesn't really matter what it is that you do. It's very little actually to do with what you do, Pisces. It's about the way that you can hold your shit together while everybody else is falling apart, and people are looking at you going, well, why the fuck is Pisces so calm? I think to an extent it's because the world's about to get a big old fucking lesson in what this is all about, like what is actually real. And get a lesson in how consciousness shifts. So where do we find ourselves right now, Pisces? We find ourselves with the Page of Cups, the Knight of Wands, and the Ace of Pentacles. Now, the Page of Cups doesn't have an astrological correspondence, but I always felt like it was quite Piscean in ways. It's that whimsical side of Pisces. It doesn't really take anything too seriously on one level, because you're aware of how not real all the things that everybody else thinks are real actually are, right? So it's easy for you to move between those states in some ways. But notice here we have the Knight of Wands and the Ace of Pentacles, right? This is saying it is time, right? I'm not saying this, the Ace of Pentacles is saying this. It is time. To recognize that it's here, whatever it is, whatever it looks like. From here, the speed of movement starts to increase dramatically. You know, the Ace of Pentacles is a card of potential, right? But it's a very slow moving energy, even in its ace state. It contains all the potential that we might need for anything, right? But it's the potential for the material world. What is the driver of that? It is attention. It is focus. The dream of the ace, which is a seed, is to grow into something strong and supportive. It's like the new world starts here. And while everybody is in a chaotic state, then they're not going to understand where to put their attention now. I feel like you've been kind of training yourself on that front for a while anyway. But this Knight of Wands is about the now. There will be plenty of points over 2026 that will be characterised with a sense of urgency, and that urgency will often want us to bypass, for example, democratic measures, or bypass the need to think about something first, right? It's going to be very much act first, act first, act first. We'll deal with the mess later, but it must be done now, right? It's not an accurate reflection of affairs, though. And I feel like where we are capable of being actually in the moment, but in a sort of slower moving, reflective way, when we understand that we are not just living through history right now, but we are actually part of what is creating history, it sort of imbues all of us with this deeper level of responsibility to make sure that everything doesn't get washed away. Now is the time to get really, really focused with your attention, Pisces, particularly your emotional attention, and begin planting the seeds for what it is that you're going to do. Now, I'm saying this like all of you are about to, you know, set up businesses or start going to, I don't know, stand in town squares and start telling people things. It's not like that. Although, for some of you, it may well look like that. Let me get this Ace of Pentacles. We've got the Six of Swords in reverse, which is interesting, because that indicates a coming back to something. Right. This is tapping into something that you've already thought about, Pisces. Now, for whatever reason, whatever it's referring to is something that you have shelved. Perhaps you allowed yourself to dream about it first, right? Daydream it. kind of feel your way around it, but the time wasn't right. So you put it on the shelf and you resolved at some point when a sign was received to come back to it. Now, this feels to me like it's the sign to go back to the idea, right? That we have this Knight of Cups here. It's Pisces energy, right? This is the same card as this one here. We've got the King of Swords, which is about the decision-making process. It is, in fact, often the understanding that it's time to say yes to something, right? At least make a decision about it. This is about pulling things off the shelf that you have put to one side because it wasn't time, in recognition of the fact that now it is time. What I think is really interesting about this is that we're covering all of the elements, are we? Cups, Pentacles, Wands, and Swords. We're covering all of the elements in terms of what is going on right now. And actually, I will tell you about a bit of Aries reading. Because although the Magician didn't show up, I don't believe it did, there was a sense that Aries, and I get that same sense with you, Pisces, Aries had begun to understand the importance of each of the aces. Now, where it was significant for them was the imposition of will in combination with the right ratio of whatever ace energy was available, right? But it was like they hadn't understood the importance of all the elements up until this point. But they get it now, and their power is amped up considerably as a result. You can't truly unleash magician potential if you're only working with 3 aces or 2 aces, or even maybe just the one, you know. And I'm feeling a similarity in the kind of energy that's showing up here. But this feels like it's something that you thought about. It's something maybe you daydreamed about. Certainly felt around the edges of it and went, that's quite interesting. That would be interesting if it happened. And then you put it down. Whatever that is, Pisces, it's time to pick it back up again. So it could be a course of study. It could be, I don't know, some sort of group that you wanted to start. It could be all sorts of things. But the Knight of Wands and the Knight of Pentacles are opportunities. And just as potential never switches on or off, but there are points at which we are more aware of our ability to be able to tap into potential. I mean, opportunities are always around, but sometimes we can't see them. Knight of Wands is opportunity. The Ace of Pentacles is opportunity. All you need to do is pick this back up off the shelf and decide that it's time, right? And allow it to be time. It's time to plant the seeds. There we go. Again, King of Pentacles energy again. Right, we've got the long-term thing going on here. But 3 of Pentacles, it is time to not only take it off the shelf, but bring in the other people. It's time to start working together with others for things. Now, possibly, it might be those people who may already be starting to notice that shift in consciousness, right? The kind of people who would probably be a little less like this and a little bit more about like the way that you do things. But in each instance, like, there's a longevity about this, and all it requires is the investment of attention and actual, you know, collaborative participation. It's time, Pisces, and I don't know what you're doing, I don't know what you're involved in, but it's time. Stop dreaming about it. It's time to start doing the thing now. I hope that makes sense to you. I can't give you any more than that. I can't tell you what it is because it'll be different for each of you. But that willingness to get dense was always going to lead to you affecting material reality. And it's time. So when we move into Capricorn season proper, we have the Death card, we have the Page of Swords, and we have the Chariot. And this is very interesting Because the Page of Swords, straight off the bat, seems to suggest that no further information is necessary. Right? When the Page of Swords shows up in the upright, he is gathering information and you know, ready to pass it up the chain. But you're already sitting at the top of the chain as the King of Swords, right? It's all about making the decisions. It's not about any more information being required, which in the first instance is a very interesting message. But then we have the Death card and the Chariot. Now these are both water signs, not you. We've got Scorpio and we've got Cancer here. Death is about creating space. It is about endings, yes, but it is also at the same time inextricable from the idea of beginnings, right? Interesting. There's the Magician at the bottom of the deck as I'm speaking. In retrospect, it's very difficult to see where the end of something is versus the beginning of something, right? They kind of blend in together. But the Death card is not really about strict endings or strict beginnings. It's about a clearing of the space. It's a transformation from one state into another, which by definition is a process. But there's something about the way that this is all speeding up. I feel like there was, you know, the speeding up started here, but it seems to be accelerating during Capricorn season for you here, because the Chariot is here, and this is a much faster energy than we see here. I mean, this one, the energy is more about integration, right? This one, it's about rapid movement. Two cards, supposed to have the same meaning, but very, very different in their execution. This feels much more about a kind of pact that you've made with yourself and with the universe and with the collective to be of service, right? This is you showing up in this integrated state. Over here, it feels much more about the movement that comes as a result. And we've got rapid change, you know, rapid endings, rapid beginnings, rapid transformations. Now, are the transformations yours, Pisces? I'm not sure. I don't think so. Because the biggest change for you has been in the acceptance of you know, everything that we've talked about. The need for you to become denser and to influence, you know, the material stuff around you. This is something else. Tell me about the Death card, please. And to make it very... Death is clarified by Death. To reiterate, no more information is required. Like, you have what you need. You know what happens from here. Tell me about the Death card, please. Whoa. Interesting. Now, the Hermit is often... It's often associated with the internal journey, right? To hermit oneself is to withdraw, it's to pull oneself in. But I don't think that that's what's happening here for you. And so the Hermit is more about being a light in the darkness here, as things are beginning to crack, to change, to transform in front of people. Now, the thing that's so meaningful for you in all of this, or the thing that makes things a little easier, is because you're aware. You're like, you know exactly what's going to happen. You know exactly what the effect is going to be, and you know exactly where it's going, right? This is why we can move through this with that fluid energy signature that is so very Piscean, right? It feels like such a push. That's what's so interesting about this. There's such a push behind it. I don't feel like you're pushing, Pisces, and I don't feel like anything's really pushing you. So where is this push coming from? Tell me about the Hermit, please. Where's the Hermit here? maybe you are pushing. It's the High Priestess again, right? Pisces energy. Oh, I see. Okay. Right. Queen of Swords, Hermit, Three of Wands. The push is a little on you, Pisces. But I don't feel like the push is a massive shove from the universe. It is internally generated, right? This is why the Hermit's here. It is insufficient to be ready. It is insufficient to be integrated and accept all the things that we've talked about here. It is insufficient, actually, it feels, to simply just plant the seeds. Because the level of acceleration between this energy here and this energy here is insane. Why do I say that, right? Well, the Knight of Wands is a pretty fast energy, right? But rather than a direction of travel, that Knight of Wands feels like a simple now. Pay attention, come online, see that the time is now. And why do we say that? Because it represents Sagittarius. It's all about living in the moment, right? So we go from this awareness of the time is now to massive transformation that is happening rapidly. The push is to come out from the shell. The push is to now be the light in the darkness for other people. And I feel like this Hermit and Queen of Swords who appear to be in some sort of dialogue here. Hermit's going like, fucking hell. Queen of Swords is going, I don't really understand. Or I do understand. I understand that no further information is necessary or will be forthcoming because you have everything that you need. Your knowing, Pisces, is enough. Now we have your ruling planet Neptune, at least in modern astrology, sitting at, what is it? It is sitting at 29 degrees Pisces, right? And we're not too far away from Saturn also reaching that point, and then, you know, the pair of them moving beyond it. This feels like an exhortation not to sit on your hands now, Pisces, right? It's time to get busy. It's time to work with what you know. It's time to feel yourself, feel your way around where you are needed and head in that direction, because everything starts to change from now. We've got that escalation. We've got the acceleration. It's all coming in. About this Chariot, please. Fuck. Yeah. We have the Six of Pentacles. We have the Two of Swords. We have the Magician. Now you govern the transition, Pisces, but it doesn't mean that you know what will be developed from here. There's a question of whether it's even being created yet, right? But here's the Magician. Here's what I was talking about before. The Six of Pentacles feels like very solid, very grounded emotions. There is absolutely nothing flighty about you at the moment, Pisces. Nothing. Because we have the determination in the Chariot, we have the determination in the Magician, we have the determination that I'm feeling really strongly from the Six of Pentacles, even in the light of not knowing where we're going. But it feels like it all hinges on the understanding that we're entering creative mode. At least the likes of you are entering creative mode now. It's going to take people a while to catch up. But the universe does not accept a vacuum, right? Whatever gets cleared out has something rushing in immediately. And I feel to some extent like this High Priestess energy is part of what is overseeing what begins here. And talked about the magician and the high priestess before, in so much as their position as the heavenly parents of the fool, right? What is initiated between the union of these two energies becomes a union between the energies of the emperor and the empress, the earthly parents of the fool. We've got, increasing levels of density, which eventually result in the fool, the new start, the entirely new cycle. But you're being called during this season to begin, if you have not begun already, allowing yourself to be the high priestess and oversee what is going on. Like, you don't need any more information. You've got everything that you need. One would wonder at this point what more you could possibly need to be clear about the new direction. I'd be interested to know what your dreams have been like, Pisces, because I feel like there's probably quite a lot in there. It's really weird. I've been dreaming a lot recently, and I don't generally remember my dreams at all. I've had some past life stuff come up, which has been really, really interesting. But for the last few days, I've been dreaming about two things. Eggs. Eggs and babies. Feeding babies. Now, the symbolism of those two images are clear. But I bet the dreams that you've been having recently are next level. I wonder if you can recall them more easily than I can as well. Like, all of this has all the hallmarks of somebody really stepping into their purpose. And do you know what? I'm seeing it right across the fucking board. I could not be happier. And I think what dictates whether you have a good 2026 or not is whether or not you are aware of exactly what is happening, what is shifting, or whether you are still trying to live this very material existence. Because I think ontological shock will be a very real thing in 2026, Pisces, as people start to realise that reality isn't what they thought it was. Like that en masse, it's a lot. There needs to be people in place to reassure, to help transition, to be like, no, this is cool. Like, the world was always like this, you just didn't see it. But you're here now, and it's fine, because there's lots of us here. Would you like a cup of tea? Whatever it is. Active history making. Right here. I love this. Right, I'm going to go and do the extended now. You're very welcome to join me if you would like to. I want to dig into this a little bit more, see if we can get some more information about it, because I can see what's happening, I can see what's going on, but it would be cool if we could get a little bit more information. So if you would like to join me, you're very welcome to do that. You can do that on Sapphire, you can do it on Circle. I'd be delighted to see you in either place. I am actually running a 7-day free trial of Circle, so you can come and try it out, if see if it's for you. If it's not, no harm done. If it is, though, I think it would be cool to be able to touch base with people who also understand what is happening right now. So I'll just leave it with you. No pressure either way. Kind of excited though for you. Anyway, it's really good stuff, Pisces. Know that I love you all very, very much, and I'll see you soon.